Hi, and welcome to the Reiki from the Farm podcast, brought to you by me, Pam Allen-LeBlanc from Hidden Brook Farm. I am a scientist, a businesswoman, and a licensed Reiki master teacher with the International Center for Reiki Training. Each week in this podcast, you'll be entertained as you learn about a wide variety of relevant Reiki topics, helping you become a more knowledgeable and effective Reiki practitioner. We caution you, though, this podcast may also dramatically improve your life, and we are so happy that you're here. So welcome on this week's podcast. I have the honor of talking with Bevel, Hethyrre, and Avalon about a conference that we are doing at Omega Institute in June. We're actually going to be there the week of the summer solstice, and it's a really exciting conference called Open to Peace, a Journey of Transformation at Omega Institute. I will have a link to the event, and as well as a link to a video that outlines the agenda of the event. If that's something you're interested in, we're going to talk all about it in this podcast too. And I would love to have you join us at Omega Institute for that if it speaks to you. It's going to be a really exciting thing, and I know I'm really looking forward to attending Hethyrre and Avalon's portions, and we also have a wonderful facilitator, Keith Van Dam, who will be joining us for a bonfire on the actual solstice. So if you'd like to spend the solstice with us, please join us. So I just want to start by introducing my guests to you. I want to start with Bevel. He's the author of several books, including Psychic Reiki, The Wizard's Guide to Energy Healing, and Healing Racism Within, A Lightworker's Guide. As a poet, his poem, America Needs a Buddhist President, airs on NPR's All Things Considered in March of 2000. He's part of the programming department at the Omega Institute for Holistic Studies in Rhinebeck, New York. And this event, this wonderful conference, is his brainchild and his idea. So welcome, Brett. I'm so glad you're here and so glad you brought us all together for this. I'd also like to introduce you to Hethyrre, who is an evolutionary guide. She is a transformational healer and a dowser who lives in Louisville, Kentucky. And as guided, she facilitates events and projects to support humanity's ascension process. So welcome, Hethyrre. I'm delighted that you're here. And finally, Avalon, who is a way shower. And some of you who listen to the podcast regularly know that term came up several months ago in our Reiki Share and podcast. Avalon is a way shower, an energy healer, a yoga teacher, and she's been a meditation guide for the last 30 years and has taught at Omega for over 2 decades. She's also an intuitive spiritual life coach. So I'm so delighted to just be in this company today and for the event. Welcome, everyone.
Thanks so much.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Just wanted to let you know what we have coming up at the farm. In the month of May, we do have a Karuna Reiki, licensed Holy Fire 3 Karuna Reiki class, and that is with the World Peace Reiki, of course. That is going to be offered evenings in North America and mornings in Australia in an Australian-friendly time zone for students there. In July, we have Level 1 and 2 and Masters on the island of Campobello, where we'll be going whale watching in between the 2 classes on the Tuesday evening, just to share Reiki with the beautiful whales that are there. And in fact, during class, we often see the whales right outside our windows. There's that. And following that in July, there is Level 1 and 2 and Masters of ICRT Animal Reiki. And again, that is on Campobello Island. This is just off the coast of Maine. The whales will be joining us for that, and we'll be going whale watching in the middle of that class the Tuesday evening as well. So love to have you join us. But for right now, I'm super excited about this event being held in June at Omega Institute. And also the following weekend, we're going to be talking, we'll tell you a little bit more about it. There is a Reiki conference at Omega Institute, and Brett's going to be telling us a little bit about that. Brett, just starting with you, and just to let you all know that their social media and websites are in the podcast notes if you want to connect with them. Do you have anything coming up after May 5th as this airs that you would like to let people know about?
For me personally, the Reiki conference is my personal big event for the summer. After that, in July, I'll be teaching level 1 and 2 at Omega Institute. But the Reiki conference, which happens right after the Open to Peace workshop, and again, even though I'm not part of the Open to Peace workshop, I'm just very excited about it and certainly want to help promote it and guide people to it because it's going to be an amazing event as well. So I think, yeah, Open to Peace and the Reiki conference happening at Omega, and then also my first and second degree Reiki training at Omega.
Lovely. Yeah, thank you, Brett. And I was in a Karuna class with you and William Rand at Omega Institute not that long ago. And I heard a couple of the girls saying, "Oh, I want to go over and say hi to Brett, but I don't want to seem like a fangirl," because they'd read all of your books and they couldn't believe that they were meeting you in the flesh. And it was just so cute. No, I think it's all right. I've been over speaking to him. I think you can go talk to him. He's really down to earth.
That's funny.
I know you didn't know that, and if you're listening, fangirl, I told on you, but I won't give you your name. So I just thought that was so funny and so cute. And yeah. Heather, what about you? I'm so delighted to meet you and all the neat things that you do. Do you have anything coming up that you'd like to let our listeners know about?
I do a weekly Facebook Live in the Facebook group called Open to Peace. And that's my main offering right now. It's mostly channeled, although it's very conversational. It's not like I'm in a trance, but we are overlit by a succession of archangels who
Wow.
are giving us, it's like up-to-date news in the world and how to help ourselves move through peacefully the changes that are happening. Other than that, I don't have anything definite planned. There's always things in the background that someday get done, but nothing definite right now.
I noticed in your bio, you had said, as guided, she facilitates events and projects. So that I love that you simply follow your intuition. And I am glad you mentioned that your Facebook page and that weekly touch base. I'm going to go check those out now. I think that sounds amazing. Yeah, thank you. Avalon, what about you? You're in sunny, not so sunny today, but Florida.
Not today, but Florida, yes. And I'll be getting ready soon to head up to spend the summer at Omega. I'm very excited to be a part of this workshop in June. And a couple other workshops I'll be a part of in the summer at Omega. And yeah, and I'm personally just working on an online course right now that has me really busy. And just, yeah, getting ready to head up to New York soon.
Wow, what are some of the other events that you have at Omega?
I'll also be part of the members weekend, which is the
Mhm.
first and last weekend. And there's an angel workshop that I'll also be a part of. I was a part of one last year where we channel angels and it's just everything angels.
I love
So
that.
that's exciting too.
Oh, that is exciting. And so you spend the whole summer there.
I do. I
Oh, how
do.
wonderful.
I know. Pinch me. Pinch me. Yeah, I teach a lot for the staff and the open classes and workshops. So, yeah,
I love that. I think spending a summer there would be magical. And
it is.
oh, wow. If any of you listening, if you've never been to Omega, it's really magical. There's the first night that I went there, the first time that I went there, the first night that I arrived, I walked up and it was just getting dusk. I walked up to my room in the little building that I was in, and there was this beautiful silver fox just,
Yes.
just there.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's very friendly animals there.
Yeah,
You
there's
have the ability to see them fairies and all kinds of mythical, amazing people and creatures that want to help us.
and can I just say a little word about the food? That it's amazing. Food at Omega. I'm usually really hard to feed with being vegetarian and no gluten and all of this. And I eat so well there that it's hard to come home. Guys, before we go too far, I'm just going to invite everybody on the call and everybody listening to just bring your hands together in the prayer position and activating Reiki or whatever energies that you work with. And today's call is about being open to peace. One of the things that we noticed with World Peace Reiki is that our outer world always resembles our inner world. And so while there's turmoil and conflict and lack of peace within, there will need to be conflict and turmoil and lack of peace without, outside of ourselves, on the earth, on the planet. And in this workshop, we invite participants to be open to peace within, and then we'll look at how that impacts the earth, the planet, and then ways that we can actively work toward world peace. And so just breathing in the light of peace now. World Peace Holy Fire Reiki is just surrounding you, flowing into your body on your breath, and just allowing you to let go of any chaos or turmoil or busyness, any injuries, trauma, anything that is preventing you from accessing that most peaceful state within. We'll just breathe in this space for a few moments together and then return. And whenever you feel guided, you can come back. Just continue breathing in world peace. And if it feels right to you, you can place your hands comfortably on your body, receiving Reiki as you listen to our talk and absorb some of the material and experiences that we'll share with you, and decide whether joining us at Omega might make sense for you in June. Okay. Mm. Thank you, everyone. Brett, I wanted to start with you because this workshop is something that's very special to you. It's something that you took part in, but you are stepping aside to allow others. But what initially inspired you to create this wonderful workshop, this Open to Peace workshop?
Yeah, many people don't know, unless they happen to have been seasonal staff at Omega, that for many years, over 2 decades, we've had this program called the Peace Program. And the Peace Program was usually either a 4 or 5 month training for seasonal staff at Omega that would involve training in Reiki up through the master level. And it would also usually involve some other energy healing modalities, magical awakening, and some other energy healing pieces. Also, it had been different shamanic practices that have sometimes been taught as part of that workshop. And it's been like a real stable thread in the energy of Omega for many years. And I used to run the seasonal staff program. I'm no longer running the seasonal staff programs. And also post-COVID, the model for the seasonal staff at Omega has shifted a bit, where it's really no longer possible to have that kind of intense ongoing workshop because we have fewer staff and it just logistically, it just doesn't work. So that peace program has fallen off the map at Omega the last couple of years. And so that's one reason that I really wanted to see, was there a way to make this kind of work happen for the paying guests so that this is still kind of part of the DNA of Omega. And then there's also, when we look at the world at large, there's so much turmoil happening right now, wars in several spots on the planet that we're aware of on an almost daily basis. So that is also contributing to it. And then there's one other piece that I'm going to go into a bit of a story here, but the person who co-founded the Peace Guild with me many years ago was a woman named Caroline. She's no longer with us on this plane, but she was a beautiful healer, a shaman, and really one of the most transformational personalities I've ever met. And I remember back in 2004, this was before the election of 2004, I think it was around September, that she gave this channeling at Omega. Again, sometimes in the classes, she would just pop into trance and start saying things. And I remember this one very clearly, where she said that Bush would be reelected, that he would continue his war in Iraq. She said he would have trouble with the weather, right? This is before Hurricane Katrina. She said he would have trouble with the weather and it would severely ruin his presidency. And she said, but he would be followed by the first African-American president who would win 2 terms, who would serve in office. She also said that then the United States would come into a period where it almost felt like there was a civil war brewing. And during the same channeling, she also said that as long as Omega Institute maintained some kind of teachings, ongoing teachings about peace, that its doors would always remain open. And so that really gelled for me, particularly last year, where I felt the world is at war in many places. We hadn't been doing the Peace Guild at Omega for a couple of years, and also where Omega was going through some financial difficulty. And I thought, everything that Caroline said in this channeling that happened 20 years ago has been pretty on the mark. And both out of a want to bring these teachings to light out into the greater public, and also just out of the fact of, if she said that as long as Omega's teaching this, our doors will remain open, then maybe we should find a way to teach this so that our doors remain open. So it was really several different layers that were pulling me to want to create this workshop. And I feel I do enough teaching at Omega in terms of the public workshops. And I also didn't really want this to be about me per se. I really wanted it to be about other facilitators who I know carry deep wisdom, who can also bring to it something beyond what I was offering through the Peace Guild. And also, just on a subnote, Avalon was a co-teacher of the Peace Guild with me for many years after Caroline left. So that's really what the inspiration was. And again, it's really about learning to use energy healing, not just to bring peace internally, but also to help to send that out into the world, to send healing to the planet, also to shift our mindset so we're not seeing war as just a symptom that happens between human beings, but also something my friend Caroline often used to say was that if we're at war with the earth, if we're at war with the animal kingdom, then we will always also be at war with fellow human beings. So it's really about understanding that deeper web of life and really being at peace with all beings. And so, yeah, I'm so happy that you're going to be part of this, Pam, because I know you're going to be bringing in a very special element about working with the animal kingdom and being at peace with that. And also Hethyrre and Avalon, who've been long established teachers at Omega in terms of working with the seasonal staff and also teaching public workshops. And also Keith Van Dam, who's not with us today, but he's a fabulous energy healer trained in Karuna Reiki, high levels of vortex healing. He's a magical awakening teacher, and he actually spends most of his time traveling around the United States, being guided by spirit, going around doing healing on the land. So he'll show up, send healing to a river or a mountain or an area where there's trauma in the land to release it. And I think he's an amazing, beautiful soul. So even though he's not with us today, he'll be part of that workshop.
Yeah, and we met with him last week, and I'm so excited. He'll be doing some work on the land while we're there and participating in the bonfire. And yeah, so I see why you pulled together presenters that you did. Can you tell us a little bit about the Earthworks healing and its significance in the workshop that Keith is going to be bringing?
Yeah, so Keith's going to be doing that. I use the term Earthworks because that's a term that's often used in vortex healing, where they will do deep healings that are about shifting different kind of energetic constructs that might be existing between humanity and the earth,
Mm.
and also just bringing also deep healing into the earth. And since Keith is a high level vortex healing teacher and who not a teacher, but all high level student, and also since he does spend much of his time literally traveling the earth, going along ley lines, doing healing, it just felt like the right term to use. So for him, that Thursday night, as part of this, again, it's going to be an evening fire on the solstice, and he's going to be bringing through an empowerment. And again, he's bringing his own style, so I don't even know what to call the empowerment. If it's a style of Reiki he's bringing through, what, but he says he's going to bring through an empowerment, and everyone in that moment is then going to be doing this deep healing on our Earth Mother and on the land at Omega, and also sending that out to humanity. So I'm very excited for what he's going to be bringing through. And again, he's a very magical person who's often just out traveling about, listening to what the mountains and the rivers and streams are telling him in terms of where to go to send healing on the planet.
I look forward to that and to spending time with him and experiencing that. That's beautiful. So, Brett, after the workshop, we have a Reiki conference. Can you tell us a little bit about that and what somebody who maybe wants to join us for the Peace Week and stay for the Reiki conference, like I'm doing, what that would entails?
Yeah, so the Reiki conference, and again, I'm so glad that you're going to be part of it. So I'm part of it. William Rand is part of it. Colleen Benelli is part of it. My dear friend Michelle Denise is going to be there. Stacy Gibbons, kind of representing the contingents of shamanic Reiki, is going to be there, and also a wonderful kind of Reiki sound healer, Felicia Bonanno, is going to be there. And during the Reiki conference, that weekend is intended mostly for people who already have some Reiki experience, but even people who don't have any Reiki experience can still attend. I do a psychic Reiki empowerment on people the first night so that they can at least do some kind of Reiki during the weekend. And it's really just an exploration of all the different energetic magic that can come from various traditions. So I know William Rand always does a beautiful keynote address on Friday night where he often talks in depth about his own experiences and giving experiences about holy fire Reiki, and also often sharing deep stories about Mikao Usui that I've never known. And it almost seems every time he speaks, I'm learning something new about the tradition of Reiki. So I always find that incredibly fascinating when he's talking. And then during the weekend, we're experiencing the Holy Fire Reiki healing experience that William leads. I'll be doing some psychic Reiki experiences and also, again, empowering people to psychic Reiki. We also have some beautiful community Reiki shares that occur, or many hands on one person on a table at once. And I know that you're going to be offering some business skills tips
Yeah.
for Reiki people. And Colleen's going to be sharing a bit about Animal Reiki. And my friend Michelle Denis, again, she's just a beautiful soul. We'll be really facilitating those community Reiki shares. And again, we'll have a Reiki sound healing with Felicia Bonanno. And I always love the Reiki conference. It's one of my peak moments for the summer at Omega. If you can make it, please check it out. Again, the weekend of June 21st through 23rd.
Yeah, it's a wonderful conference. I think William Rand is leading a Karuna Reiki class right after that, isn't he?
Yeah,
I don't know.
he is. He is.
Yeah, I was going to try to stay and help him, but my campaign team says I can't be away that long. So, yeah, no, there's something about going to those Reiki conferences. You just go away in a different vibration, and it just raises your vibration. You go away really charged up, and yeah. So I am really excited to be part of it, Brett. Thank you for inviting me. I can't wait for it.
I'm
Thanks.
looking forward to seeing you there.
Yeah, thank you. Heather, tell us a little bit about some of the peace practices that you're going to be sharing with us during the Open for Peace week workshop week.
They'll be varied. And I like to think of the offerings that come with these peace practices as being part of a gestalt of spiritual economy. So it's like doing the most with the least, right? And so there are some very simple things that we can learn to make ourselves more energetically stable, which is really important so that we're not being buffeted by the winds of the day and the things that are happening in the world could throw us off center. So there are very simple techniques that I teach that have been taught to me by my guides. And then I work a little with meditation, the Buddhist meditation about may we be at peace, and help people to understand how powerful that can be. And then there are things that come in the moment. I'm always working with spiritual guides, and this succession of archangels is particularly focused on helping us move into a state of peace. And they will bring forward initiations or upgrades and so on, as is right in the moment for the people who are gathered at that time.
Wow.
So it's very interesting. It's like an adventure every time we get together to do this kind of work. And then, of course, I'm offering a teaching about Sai Maa Diksha. And so Diksha is a light blessing that's been transferred by spiritual masters over hundreds of years. But it differs, the flavor of it, the energy of it differs with the different spiritual master. What their energy is comes through in their teachings, of course. And Sai Maa is a wonderful being who is a spiritual master herself. She's a healer and teaches about healing, and she's a humanitarian. And she found a way, or devised a way, or channeled a way to give us a method that we can use that's really simple, again, spiritual economy, and straightforward and easily learned, where people can receive the blessing themselves, and then once they've received the blessing, they learn how to transfer that blessing to others. It's a blessing of light, and it's meant to help us as we are processing everything that's happening and moving very rapidly towards and through the ascension of humanity. It supports us in embodying more light. It comes into our brain and our nervous systems and helps us to release spiritual programming, perhaps, that we may not even be aware is there, because we're all with possibility. And it helps to release that, as well as to burn off things that are not serving us. And then those same people can learn how to transfer this to others, as well as to teach it to others to be able to transfer it.
Oh my gosh, that's just that alone is amazing. And you said that you talked about spiritual economy and how simple it is. I've noticed, or I find that as the vibrations go higher and higher, the practices are simpler.
Yes.
The higher the vibration, the simpler and more spiritually economic practice. And as I was listening to you talk, it occurred to me that we are entering a new age. We are entering an age of enlightenment, the age of Aquarius that we've been waiting for. And I just started to realize the significance of the timing of this workshop and the fact that it will be held on the solstice, the longest day of the year in the Northern Hemisphere. And that's really neat. Thank you. Why is this workshop important to you, Heather?
There's a deep need in all of us. As I work with individual clients, or as I do the work that I'm guided to do, that the archangels are overseeing, it just is so clear that it's not that hard. It's a matter of raising our consciousness. It's not so much about what actions we might take in the outer world, or about stopping a war here or stomping out a fire there. It's about raising our consciousness so those things can't even happen, which sounds like a dream in a way, but they tell me it's really simple, that peace already exists here on the planet. But we have covered it over with certain thoughts and beliefs and patterns and habits and ways of being in the world. But when we can raise our consciousness so those are no longer able to be manifested by us, then peace is what remains.
I love that. And reminds me of a conversation that I've had with my mentor, Colleen Benelli, and where we realized that you're able to choose the vibration that you live in on the planet. And so why would you choose a lower vibration when a higher vibration is possible for you?
Yes.
And it makes me realize that this conference may very well be the catalyst and the opportunity to choose that higher vibration. And when you look at your outer world, if there are things that are not the way that you wish they were, once again, that's a choice in vibration. So choosing to come higher. I love that. Thank you, Heather. That's, yeah. Avalon, you're going to be taking us through a wonderful process, levels 1 and 2 of magical awakening. Can you tell us a little bit about that? And you also, at the same time, are going to be looking at clearing the collective grief of war, or the collective war grief. Can you tell us about those two things?
Yes. Yes, I'm very excited about this. Magical awakening is a beautiful lineage that came through Brett. And I like what Heather said about as the vibrations rise, it gets easier. And that's the one thing about the magical awakening lineage that I love, is that it's not so complicated. And I've been involved in a lot of energy healing traditions. And this one is just so beautiful. In the first level, where I will be giving the empowerment to the first level, they'll be receiving 3 cauldrons. And in one of them, we will be able to channel fire. And the thing about fire is incredibly transformative. You know, if you put paper into fire, it turns to ashes, water turns to steam. You could put metal, it will turn to liquid. And just the fact that it's happening this week where the solstice is, and there's so much fire energy on the planet, we're going to take this empowerment from the first level, where we have this power to channel fire into the collective consciousness, to our DNA, to help transmute that grief that has been there, the grief that has been seen with the eyes. We can take this fire and transmit it to the eyes that have seen horror from grief, to the ears that have heard so much mean stuff around grief, to the voices that have spoke grief. We're going to channel fire to these parts and really help, not help, but actually literally clear collective consciousness around grief. And so that's how I'm intending to use at least part of the first level. There's so much we could do with it. And in the second level, we will be getting empowerment. I will be given an empowerment to the second level, where we actually have a much deeper connection again to the earth elements. And of course, we could take all these earth elements to clear collective grief. Again, we will have fire that we could work with. We have the water element, which is always associated with our emotions, where everybody together collectively, we will be channeling the element of water to our ancestors, to the people currently on the planet, to just all the collective grief that has gone on. Because the thing is, if grief is blocking us right now, if we're bombarded with this grief, which is unconscious as well as conscious, it creates a barrier to actually having full peace at the moment. So when we could clear these blocks, we just open up like a garden hose where the water just comes gushing through, and we could just all be so open to peace. So that's what I'm planning to do. Just a little bit of it. That's just the tip of it. With these magical awakening tools. And the exciting thing about it is it's twofold. One, when we come together and do this, it's so much more potent. Never mind the fact that we're doing it the week when the sun is so high. It's metaphorical for the theme about light overcoming darkness, which is what the solstice is about. Light really shining everywhere and overcoming all this darkness. So we're going to use these tools, and they'll have these tools to take home with them, to use on their families, to use on themselves, and to just use for anything and everything. But we all want peace, especially today. We really want peace, and we're going to use these tools to zero in on the collective grief that has been on the planet.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And as you describe the grief, it makes me think it's one of those layers that Heather was just talking about that covers, and peace is there. It's possible, it
Yes.
already exists. And
Yes.
this collective grief is one of those layers that is getting in the way of it. So, how amazing that we'll have an opportunity to contribute to that. And I agree with you. When I keep thinking back to my Christian upbringing, but one of the things was whenever two or more shall gather in my name, like whenever a group of people comes together, it's especially united in purpose, it's powerful. So I think just deciding to join us and be part of that,
It's going to be incredibly powerful, not just because of the empowerments that they will be receiving, but because of our collective consciousness and the time of the sun shining so bright on us.
oh, I love that.
Too.
And you guys don't know, but solstices and equinoxes are always very important to me. In fact, this is the first spring solstice, this past one, that I didn't do a special meditation for my podcast just because I didn't have time. But it's going to be so neat to spend that with you there at Omega, making a difference to bring peace on the planet. Amazing. You're also, Avalon, another part of the agenda, another part of what you're doing is you're going to be taking us through Psychic Reiki and the Angelic Doorway Empowerment, and that this contributes to ancestral healing. So, can you tell us a little bit about that part of the program?
Absolutely. The thing we know about energy healing is it's not bound by time, right? It's not bound by time at all. So when we channel this energy into our ancestors and backwards and forwards in time, which is one of the beautiful tools about Reiki that we can do. We can channel backwards to times of trauma, which would actually affect what's going on currently. And we could also project and channel into the future. So we are going to be doing that with the Reiki empowerment that I'll be giving with the Psychic Reiki to heal our ancestors' traumas and to help clear the way for future generations with the Reiki. So that's going to be really powerful. And the Angelic Doorway is another empowerment I'll be giving them, which is going to empower everybody to work directly with our ancestors' angels. We'll be calling in the angels of our families, of our parents, of our grandparents, and our great-grandparents. And we're going to be working with angels to clear collective grief and allow this peace to begin to just flow within us all and around the planet. And yeah, I'm really excited about these empowerments. And also, even on the fire ceremony, we're going to be taking some prayers and writing them and sharing them with each other and channeling into this fire and burning our prayers. And as the ashes go up right into the ethers, into the arms of the angels, it's going to be powerful. And I do believe that everybody in their heart of hearts wants to make a change. Sometimes it could be so daunting. Like when you put on the news, it's, oh, I can't do anything. I don't have the power, or I'm not a politician, or I'm not. But yes, it's up to each and every single one of us to find it in our hearts to come together and to do this work together. And that's what this workshop is going to be all about. It's going to be about empowering each one of us to make a change and bring in more peace and clear this collective grief that is like this shadow on us that sometimes we're not even aware of.
Oh my gosh, I love that. And I'm already putting my prayers together in my
Yes.
mind that I'll be putting into the fire.
And the thing about the prayers is that the universe is so abundant. You could pray as much as you want. You could ask for as much as you want. There's no limit on this. So come with your biggest, deepest, most powerful prayers, because together we're going to be putting energy into your prayer, and we're going to send these prayers up. And this is going to take place at the end of the week when we've all been intoxicated with these amazing healing energies that we'll be receiving.
Oh my gosh, I love it. And then Keith will be there at the fire as well, and he'll be sharing with us his special work and his special brand of healing energy. We all got so excited as we were just going through the schedule together last week, and we can't wait for each other's.
And people who come make lifetime friends of like-minded people, which I know could be challenging in today's world, where it's hard to find like-minded. But when you come together with a group like this, some kind of special bond is always formed, and people usually keep together through emails, and you find your soul family, and you feel so free and just so open at a retreat like this. So come.
Yes, please come.
Get ready to be upgraded with all these empowerments and things we'll be giving.
And to have an impact on the peace on the planet. I think that's something that a lot of people desire, is to just know that. And I think that's part of a lot of people's life purposes too, is to have an impact on the peace on the planet, especially when we get into energy work and healing work. And yeah, you're right. I can't wait for it, Avalon. Thank you.
Pam, do you mind if I ask you about just a few pieces of what you're going to be bringing to this event? Because you're a very powerful healer in your own right, and I'm very excited that you're going to be part of this workshop. And so would you mind telling us how participants can connect with the earth and receive messages from animals through Animal Reiki?
Just a quick little bit of history. I've always been an animal person. I'm an animal scientist. I studied veterinary medicine. So when I learned Reiki, it was very natural for me to work with the animals. And in fact, my first Reiki master attuned my horses to Reiki. And once they had an attunement and I saw how aware they were of the energy, that actually was the piece that caused me to continue in my Reiki journey, was so that I could work more with animals. And Reiki opened me up to animal communication. And animal communication, of course, also leads to being able to hear the angels, the brothers and sisters of the light, the earth itself. It's the same energetic and intuitive pathway. So I'm going to be leading people through some of the really interesting messages that I've heard from the earth. Eventually, this led to the animal communication and Reiki together, led to creating, with Colleen Benelli, Sue Strong, and Robin Benelli, the ICRT Animal Reiki course. And so we're going to be bringing quite a few of these elements together. We're going to be bringing people through a process of how to listen and receive those messages themselves. And we're going to be bringing people through some of the energies of Animal Reiki in which the divine animal kingdom that we work with in this energy, it will be present and working with participants to help heal some of that division that we sometimes have between ourselves and the earth, ourselves and animals, sometimes the division that we have within ourselves or between ourselves. Those divisions are an illusion. They're not actually possible, but they are definitely optical. It's something that we believe is there. And so that makes it there. But some of the core teachings, one of the things we'll even be talking about is human hating. And the fact that it can be very tempting when you listen to the news and all of that stuff to think, oh, humans, they're the worst ones. They're causing all these problems on the planet and so on. This energy has shown us that we have so much potential, like what Hethyrre said and what Avalon said, and that we are beautiful. And if we could only understand that about ourselves. When Colleen was meditating with the earth, she said, what must you think of us? Because we think sometimes that we're causing all these problems and we're polluting and we're doing this, we're doing that. And the earth said, you're beautiful. And if you could only see yourselves the way I see you, you would create your life from that space. It's when you believe yourselves to be destructive that you create from that space. And so we're going to be moving into that space so that we can accept and be open to the fact that we are magnificent. We are going to be connecting with our magnificence. At the same time, there's a very core belief that keeps the illusion of separation in place. And it's a belief, I'm going to explain it in a Christian context because it's the one I know the best. It's a belief in dominion over. And when we believe we have dominion over the earth and dominion over the animals and the planet and so on, we're not taking our rightful place as one of the organisms of the earth, as part of the earth and the planet and part of the animal kingdom. When we believe ourselves to be separate, there's a disconnect. And it's that disconnect that can lead to the discord and the things that prevent us from connecting with the peace. So that belief in dominion over is healed. And even though a lot of the people who attend might think, I don't have a belief in dominion over, we've all grown up in a society. No matter where you've grown up, we've grown up in a society that has a belief in dominion over. And this isn't just a Christian thing. This isn't just a Muslim or a Buddhist or a Hindu. It really pervades most cultures. And so because we've grown up in that collective consciousness, there is a need to release that belief. And so we'll be going into some processes to do that as well. That just brings us into more harmony, and that will allow us to hear the messages and so on. Yeah, I'm excited.
Pam, that sounds fascinating. Could you elaborate a little bit about this concept of releasing dominion and how that aligns with the World Peace Reiki grids and the Holy Fire World Peace Reiki?
Oh, yeah, thank you. And with the ICRT, which is the style of Reiki that I have been drawn to, William Rand, way back in the 1990s, I believe he placed the first World Peace Grid in 1999. He came to an understanding, and William is our president. He came to an understanding through his meditations that world peace was possible, what Hethyrre told us. And he was guided to create these beautiful Reiki grids in the shape of a 12-petaled lotus flower with a symbol of each of the 12 major religions in the world, but it also includes agnostics and atheists and independent spiritual paths, even like it basically, and all others. So the 12 major world religions and one symbol, which includes others as well. And so with this, and he placed crystals. It was a grid that was made of copper covered with gold. He placed crystals. He placed Reiki symbols in the center of it under a large crystal. And he has the expression, the saying, may the followers of all the world's religions and spiritual paths work together to create peace among all people on earth. Now, he placed one of these grids at the North Pole, one at the South Pole, one in Israel, which is where 3 of the world's major religions sprouted from. And he also placed one on Mount Kurama, which is where, of course, Reiki began with Yasui Sensei. And he placed one at our ICRT center in Southfield, Michigan, and one at the center in Hawaii. The only one I've worked with in person has been the one in Hawaii, but it's really beautiful. And anybody who's interested, I'll put a link in the podcast. If you'd like, there are over 40,000 people who you can download photos of these World Peace Grids, and you can receive a reminder every month on, I believe it's the second Wednesday of every month, to go ahead and meditate and send Reiki toward world peace with the Peace Grids at 7:30 p.m. your time. Now, this has been an initiative. Getting to the South Pole was not easy. Getting to the North Pole was not easy. It's really something that William was really dedicated. But it's been an initiative that has grown over time and carried over time. And you can print out the cards and ask for an email reminder. And so quite a few of us get together every month and send Reiki toward world peace. And the world has been getting progressively peaceful. I don't know if it's because of that, but it's probably a combination of that and the efforts of a lot of other people and groups and so on. But there is evidence, empirical evidence, that the world has been getting more peaceful. In 2022, William and Colleen Benelli were meditating at the outset of the war in the Ukraine. And they were asking, is there anything that we can do? Now, Holy Fire Energy had shown up many years before in 2014, but it showed up with the understanding that it was going to continue to evolve as our ability to receive higher and higher frequencies also evolved. And so in 2022, they were meditating, and it had already evolved a few times, the Holy Fire Energy, but they were specifically asking the question, what can we do about this war? And probably the reason no war is wanted or warranted, but this one was maybe of particular interest because it had the potential to spread to global nuclear disaster. And so they were meditating, saying, is there anything we can do? And the energy said, yes, in fact, there is. And a whole new frequency came in of world peace energy. And I'm going to be sharing that energy with people during our conference through a specific experience that allows them to step into that energy whenever they choose afterward, and to heal anything in their lives that needs to be healed. But the world peace energy essentially brings us that opportunity to be peaceful within and to choose peace. And it's just an incredible energy. And when they asked afterward, wow, why did this energy come through William? They were told that it was because of his efforts with the World Peace Grid, that the beautiful, we call them the Brothers and Sisters of the Light, but Heather, they sound a lot like the group that you are working with. And I know groups can, with different names, can be similar or the same group. And this group of the Brothers and Sisters of the Light, we had become aware of them in 2018, that they were working with the Holy Fire Energy and with the ascension of the planet. And the Brothers and Sisters of the Light are enlightened beings from all the world's religions and spiritual paths, but they said that it was because of the efforts with the World Peace Grid that they knew that this was an opportunity to bring this frequency.
Pam, can you tell us a little bit about what is peace activism, and also tell us about the Holy Fire World Peace Healing Experience?
Yeah, absolutely. One of the things that has shown up for me personally is that the energy asked me to run for politics. And a lot of people that listen to this regularly know that. And I realized that although raising your own vibration is one form of activism, there can be other forms of activism as well. And so it really caused me to take some time to dive into those. And I'm going to be talking about different things, different places, different ways to take this piece after at the end of our program and move it into the world. And it's like what Heather said, it's simpler than you think. Running for office isn't totally simple, but there are many other forms of activism that we can step into that are simpler. And it will include everything from simply raising your vibration and meditating every day. And some of the practices I'm sure that Heather and Avalon and Keith will be sharing with us, all the way through to, okay, are you getting guidance to run for office? And the gamut in between, because once we do step into that, then how do we share it with others? That's the question that we'll be following up with. And the experience, the Holy Fire Healing experience that I'm going to be leading specifically is Healing in the River of Peace. And what this does is that will allow us to tap into the world peace energy, even after the event, anytime that we choose to. It'll allow us to just be able to hold steady in that place of peace, even as we move out into the world.
Beautiful. Even though I'm not teaching as part of this workshop, I'm definitely going to have to slip in now and then.
I hope you will.
Yeah.
That'll be amazing. Thank you, guys. One of the things I love to do in this podcast is leave everybody with an experience, just something that even if they can't join us, they can maybe get a small taste of this peace process and start the process for themselves. And also during this might also give you some guidance about whether it's right for you to join us. And Brett, I asked you if you would mind leading us through that experience. Before you do, I just want to say thank you so much to Heather and Avalon and you for being here in case I'm in too deep of a space at the end.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you again for the opportunity. And it's interesting. I wasn't planning on doing this, but as we're talking today, I'm being guided. What keeps showing up to me is that during the week, one of the empowerments people are going to receive is this angelic doorway. And I want folks to have just an energetic taste of what each of you will be able to do once you have your own energetic doorway. And that's one thing is to bring through guardian angels for others. And so when I think of guardian angel, I think of that divine spark that helped create us and that has been with us through our entire soul's journey. So just inviting everyone just to sit back, relax. If you're at home listening to this podcast and chopping vegetables, maybe stop chopping the vegetables right now and just sit in a chair and just sit down. And I'm going to invite through your guardian angel. Each of you who are listening, inviting your guardian angel to come through the angelic gateway right now and to reflect back to your own holiness, your own pure, divine, precious nature. And inviting your guardian angel also to create any energetic structures in the area of your crown chakra or your heart chakra to help connect you deeper to that sense of your mission in bringing the world into a more deeper alignment with peace. And again, asking your guardian angel to again just keep reflecting back to you your own holiness, your own pure divine preciousness, and also reflect back to you that infinite love that the divine has for you so that you can feel it in every cell of your body. And again, inviting your guardian angel just to also create any energetic structures in your field that would be beneficial for your own spiritual evolution as a light worker or as a peacemaker or as a way shower. And just allowing that to occur and to unfold, and inviting your guardian angel also just to create energetic structures in the areas of your feet to make sure that you're walking peacefully on Mother Earth, and also receiving her vibrations of peace as they come up through you, through your feet, into your body. And just inviting your guardian angel also to create an energetic rose for you, an energetic rose to put that into your energy field, and just let that beautiful vibration of peace emanate out into your day, emanate out into your life. And also holding the intention that all of these roses, for all of us who are all part of this experience right now, that they are like beacons sending vibrations of peace out to humanity, out to Mother Earth, out to our fellow members of the animal kingdom and plant kingdom, out to our fellow beings that are part of the mineral kingdoms, out to the star beings and those beings that inhabit other realms of the universe and other layers of existence, so that we are emanating peace on all levels. Just invite you to just let these energies take you where they will. And if they happen to guide you to Omega this summer, know too, you will be empowered to lead this similar kind of experience for others. And just giving much gratitude to all the angels that have showed up for us right now, and gratitude to Mother Earth and all the beings that we know are always supporting us in our journey. And giving gratitude to you, Pam, and Heather, and Avalon for this gathering online right now. And also just want to send out a little thank you as well to my dear spirit friend, Caroline, when she first had this idea of a peace guild that is morphing and evolving in its own way. So just offering deep gratitude to all of us and to all who have chosen to experience this podcast and experience this healing, and hoping that it evolves with you in whatever way is for your highest good. Thank you so much, Pam, for inviting us to be here.
Thank you, Brett and Heather and Avalon. I can't wait to be with you in real time and in person on the magical grounds of Omega. And yeah, and thank you for this. I so appreciate it.
Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. For everybody listening, thank you so much for being here. We appreciate you, and we appreciate the way that you are spreading your light in the world, just with an awareness that too is contributing to world peace. Thank you. Aho. Namaste.